You ever have one of those days where you look at your life and think, is this really happening to me? Because that was me, standing on my own damn driveway, watching the self-appointed queen of our HOA jam a master key into my Pride and Joy Me F100. She claimed she was just relocating it for community regulations. You know what I mean? Like that's supposed to make it all okay. But the only thing that got relocated that day was my last ounce of patience from somewhere deep inside to right about the edge of my fist. See, that truck's not just metal. It's a 1972 Ford F100 cherry red rebuilt by these hands. Every bolt, every bit of grease, 3 years of my weekends, and the last real thing I did with my best friend Jake before he shipped out, and well, never mind. So when I caught Karen, our HOA president, queen of the beige suburb, standing over it with a janitor's ring of keys, flanked by her husband Richard, arms crossed, chin up, eyes darting between me and my truck like he already owned it, I just about lost it. But I didn't. Not then. I kept my voice low, because when you're truly mad, you don't yell. You whisper, and people listen closer. "Can I help you?" I asked. Karen, never missing a beat, held up her ring of keys and gave me her best rehearsed smile. "Your vehicle is in violation. Oversized tires, classified as a work truck, not permitted for family use. Article 7, Section C. We've issued multiple warnings." Yeah, I gotten their little notices use them as kindling in my grill. I said, "It's a classic. It's parked on my property." She countered, "Your driveway is considered common frontage for review." They'd move it themselves, she threatened, and tow it to the community impound lot, which was just a gravel pit behind the pool where dead picnic tables went to die. The key scratched my paint. I could feel my teeth grinding. My fists curled tight, but I didn't give her what she wanted. That's what people like Karen want, an explosion, something they can play victim over. Instead, I told her, calm as I could, "You are attempting to break into my personal property. That is a crime. Not when I'm enforcing rules you agreed to," she shot back. She tried the key again, Bennett. Her face went from smug to furious, like I'd ruined her day. Then she pulled the ultimate HOA move she called 911, dialing up the damsel in distress routine, voice all quivery. "He's threatening me. He's a very large man. I'm the HOA president. Please send someone quick." Her husband Richard, ever the sidekick, added, "He's a menace. We don't feel safe." They thought they had me. They thought the cops would show, see a big guy and a crying woman, and take their side. But I had installed security cameras, one pointed right at the driveway. Caught the whole thing in glorious HD, audio and all. When the cops rolled up, Karen turned on the waterworks, painting me as a wild-eyed beast. But the older officer asked, "You got footage?" I said, "Sure do," and showed him everything her trying to jimmy the lock, scratching my paint, then dialing up a false emergency. Karen lost it. She tried that's illegal to record me bit, but the officer just sighed, "Not in a public area." When they saw the footage, that whole president of the HOA routine crumbled in her hands. Next thing you know, she's getting cuffed in my driveway, her face a cocktail of rage and disbelief, Richard sputtering about friends on city council, which made the whole thing almost funny if I wasn't still looking at a fresh scratch on my fender. But it wasn't over. As the cop cars rolled away, I found another HOA violation slipped under my wiper-predated $1,000 fine for hostile community environment. That's when I knew this was just round one. This place. I'd moved in 2 years ago, after 10 years as a military cop. All I wanted was peace, a garage, a place to wrench on my truck. For 6 months, it was perfect. Then the notices started. Grass too long, by a quarter-inch. Trash cans out after pickup. $50 here, $75 there. It was a movie set, every lawn the same, every house beige, no kids' toys, nothing real. My neighbor Louie, a retired mailman with a gnome army in his yard, gave me the rundown on Karen and Richard. She'd force people to repaint doors, tear down swing sets, fined Louie $20 per gnome. Richard, the treasurer, handled the money and the threats. My first run-in was about the truck parked in my driveway, her barking at me to keep that eyesore in the garage. I tried to keep my head down, thought they'd move on. They didn't. Every week, a new paper cut. Noise pollution for classic rock in the garage. A non-approved welcome mat. It was meant to wear you down, make you fold. But I'd learned in the military you don't win by yelling. You win by being smarter, using your enemy's own arrogance against them. So when I got that first commercial vehicle violation, I wrote a formal letter back, quoted state law, attached my classic registration. The answer came, the committee's decision is final. That's when I realized it's not about rules. It's about control. Things escalated fast. Louis became my unofficial intel guy. His gnomes got fined. My mailbox got stuffed with new violations, $200 for a driveway crack that had been there forever, $150 for an imaginary oil stain. Richard was bleeding me dry on paper, attacking my finances, hoping I'd give up and move. The final straw? A certified letter, $1,925 outstanding, pay in 30 days or face a lien on my home. A lien. That's the kill shot, the kind that ruins credit and keeps you trapped. I called Jake's older brother Ben, a lawyer. You could sue, he said, but it'll cost a fortune. HOAs have bylaw traps. Lose, and you pay their fees. I was cornered. Hopeless. But then I dug into property records, found pattern. Families fined into foreclosure, their homes snapped up by a local LLC, Chestnut Holdings. The address? A P.O. box Richard visited every Saturday. I staked it out, saw him myself. That was the link. But I needed proof. Not long after, someone slashed my tire. My cameras caught a figure in a hoodie but a flash of gold on the wrist. Richard's watch. Now it was personal. That's when I decided no lawyers. Not yet. This was recon. I dove into public records, court filings, pieced it all together with Louis bringing beer and news. Karen just bought a new patio heater, probably with stolen no money. The scam was simple fines, foreclosures, the HOA's treasurer funneling homes into his own shell company, prepping for a highway project that had tripled property values. With help from my old Army buddy Sexpert in information retrieval and Louis as distraction, we ran a Trojan horse. I proposed a ludicrous home renovation to force an in-person meeting with Karen and Richard. While Louis tied Karen up with gnome to grass ratio questions, S slipped into their house and cloned the hard drive. That night, we found everything: bank transfers, emails with a city councilman named Vance, secret plans to profit from the new highway. This was bigger than Karen, bigger than Richard. This was a criminal conspiracy. Now I had a choice to go public, risk everything, or leverage what I knew. I called Ben again. You could blow this up or use it as leverage. But can you live with letting them walk? I thought about all the families they'd bullied, all the people forced out. I made my choice. I set the trap. Listed the F-100 for a price so low Richard couldn't resist. Rented an office, wired it for audio and video, called Richard for a sale. He brought Karen off course. Cash in hand, smirk on his face. But as soon as I laid out the evidence, the P.O. box, the records, the emails they cracked, I forced them to call Vance down, got all three of them in one room, the pressure rising, truth spilling out. Richard, desperate, confessed to everything, including sabotaging my truck, planning a tragic accident. That was the final nail. Louis barged in with a ceramic gnome. Chaos exploded, Karen stabbing, Richard lunging, Vance trying to bolt. S stormed in, cops right behind. By the end of the night, all three were in cuffs, cash on the floor, Louis holding his gnome like a trophy. Charges stuck. Wire fraud, conspiracy, attempted murder, 15 years for Richard, 5 for Karen, 7 for Vance. The HOA dissolved. The stolen homes restored. Louis, now HOA president by accident, his only law, leave each other alone. A week later, I buffed the scratch out of my F-100. Cherry red, just like Jake would have wanted. I finally found peace, not in a quiet house, but in fighting for what's right. And you know what? When push comes to shove, justice still rides a V8. So, tell me, what would you have done? Would you go public or handle it your own way? Comment below, because I know folks got stories like this. Let's hear 'em.